Hey, how y'all doing? It's Friday. I'm here, you here. So let's get into this video. So today, basically, it's gonna be a happier type of message because this week we have been dealing with a lot when it comes with just hilarious. T.S. Madison, blessed, I think is the trans woman, but it's like, no, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about how there are still good people in this world. So, as you can see, I always show y'all my little notes. So, she has her notes today. She has her notes. So, let's get into it, please. My first point that I have on here is people's loss for compassion. I've noticed that since COVID, really, but maybe even a little, I wouldn't even know before that, but really after COVID, people lost a lot of hope, and people also lost a lot of compassion. Compassion when it came to the things they once loved to do, compassion when it comes to family and friends, and just compassion when it comes to how we treat each other, just like in this society, you know, just the compassion that we have towards one another. And like in some communities, in some spaces, there has never been much compassion for one another, but there used to be more, if you know what I mean. Like there used to be, you know, outwardly more compassion towards things and towards, you know, different stuff and hope and stuff. And I've just noticed that in recent months and years, people have lost a lot of compassion one for one another. We don't give each other grace anymore, or nobody, let me say it like this. There's a lot less grace being given. And grace, I feel like grace shouldn't be given when someone is committed to trying to do wrong by you or trying to do harmful things to you. Yes, but when you see that someone is trying to grow, they're trying to do better with something, with someone, give them a little bit of grace. You know what I mean? Especially if you see they're on a track to doing better, they're on a track to, you know, want to live better lives, want to be a better influence on the world, want to be a better, you know, person in general. I don't think we give each other enough grace, and that's where that compassion comes in. A lot of us don't have a lot of empathy. And I feel like the reason why a lot of this is going on at the moment is our society. Our society, especially in the US, it values individualism. We are raised to be independent. We are raised to fend for ourselves, fend for our families that we may have. But ultimately, we're told to fend for ourselves. Kids are turning 18 and being kicked out of their homes, where that home didn't teach them all the things that they need to become good adults, to become financially abundant adults, to become empathetic, emotionally intelligent adults. And they're kicked out, and they have to fend for themselves. They have to get the money as hard as they have to work as hard, you know, they have to figure shit out on their own. And that's what our society values. They value, and we constantly feed these ideals that, you know, to be independent, to have all your own shit, do this, that's all good. But in this economy, it's a lot harder for a lot of people to get their own shit. And you know, I hear a lot of well, there's so many ways to make money. There's so many ways to make money. Yeah, but you have to invest in some of those things. You have to invest time, money, And sometimes we don't have those things. Sometimes we need our money when we need our money. We need our money when our rent is due. And y'all don't understand how often I hear people, you know, some people do take advantage of people, but some people genuinely need help sometimes. Some people genuinely have ruts and stuff, and I just see it, even if it's not so overt all the time, everyone just kind of, you know, looks down on those people, or, you know, shies away from this very apparent thing that people are going through, because it's just like, we're meant to get it how we live. We're told to, you know, be individuals. We're told to, you know, get it how we live, basically. in our economy and in our society and the way things are transpiring, like that's a very real reality for a lot of people to go through financial hardship, to go through different things where you would need community, or even if it's not financially, you would need community emotionally to help you get through these things. You would need therapy, you would need different things to help you cope, you know what I mean? And with all of that going on with society, with COVID, with all of that whole, sphere of things, people tend to get a little sometimes angry and negative in their daily lives. They tend to not show one another. We tend to not show one another enough empathy, enough positivity. We're always so negative to one another because we're in our little bubbles and we're like, I'm having to do what I need to do for me. Fuck everybody else. I need to get done what I need to get done. I don't care if I'm fucking up what you got over here as long as my shit good. You know what I mean? And that's not a sustainable way for a society to last, honestly. It's a dog-eat-dog world, as people say. And I don't feel like it should be that way. I think it should be a dog get together, let's find something to eat, not a dog-eat-dog world. And I feel like people are okay with that because that's been the way that it has been for a very long time, you know what I mean? We live in a society where our worth is held in our possessions. Our worth is held with that whole individualism idea. Like, our worth is held in if we have our own car. Our worth is held in if we can buy a house, can't buy a house. Our worth is held in, if we have on the newest brands or the best brands or the most trendy clothes. That is what our worth is held in our society. And ultimately, when you strip all of that shit away, it's just like, where's the character? What is your character? What do you want to be known for in this life? Do you want to be known for, being in somewhat objective, or do you want to be known for your personality? You want to be known for your personhood? You want to be known for who you are? Or do you want to be known for like what you had and what you could financially do for people in a very low vibrational way? Not in the sense of you actually trying to help people, but what you could do to and for people with your finances or with your possessions, or how many possessions you did have, you know what I mean? Our society puts a lot of value in that, and I'm one of them people. I love nice things, I want nice things in life, but it's just like, it's hard for me to put those nice things over people, over, the bonds that I have. It's hard for me to value a thing more than a person, or value, because we'll do a lot of things for these things and hurt a lot of people for these possessions, and then at the end of the day, we got our big ass fancy house, our big ass mansion, all our cars and shit, and we're lonely because we done stepped on so many different people to get where we at. And you're living, ultimately, I feel like you're living in your karma at that point, because you didn't value the people that got you to where you were. You didn't value, all those souls, you just wanted to use them as leverage. I mean, like I said, I love nice things, but it's just like, at the end of the day, without these clothes, without any of this, me bald headed, me without eyebrows, anything, and I'm just out there in fucking nature, I'm still Chris. You know what I mean? I'm still going to give off the same vibe. It's some people, some celebrities, and some people out here, we know that if you strip all those stuff away from them, you give them a little basic outfit, take away some of the money of things that make them look better, and just present them in front of you, you won't see the value in them. They lose value because they lost the possessions. They didn't have the personality, the personhood, the character wasn't there to begin with. It was just the things, the flashy things that attracted you to them at the end of the day. Okay, so I wanted to now shift into like how we as people can be better people, to be good quote unquote people, because I value knowing that there are people that still care about people that still are courteous of other people that still care about other people, you know what I mean? Let's put an end to all these negative cycles. I'll give you an example. You're going through a fast food drive-through and the person at the intercom has this most stank attitude. You can just tell from just how they're like, can I take your order? Anything, that's all, like shit like that. And like, I know from me personally working in fast food, I know how people can get into those modes. I never try to, present that energy out, even though I would receive a lot of that energy, you know what I mean? But that person is probably stressed out. They're probably thinking about all the bills they got to pay. They're probably thinking about the fun things that they can't be doing right now because they have to work. Or just like grief. They could be dealing with all kinds of stuff, and that is making their day just so bad to where they can't help but to express it outward to other people because they don't know how to cope with it. They don't have nobody to talk to. So in that instance where you're the person giving your order and they're giving you this stank attitude, try to flip that. Try to be compassionate. Try to, even though they're being the nastiest bitchy person to you, try to, give that person grace because they may not be who they are every day. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna still, like, after I roll through and I'm giving them my nice energy, I'm still roll my eyes and be like, bitch. But, I had to get that shit out of me. But I didn't do it to them. You know what I mean? I didn't put that energy onto them. And that's what I feel like more people should do. We should try to put positivity into each other. And then in that aspect, some people are looking at me like, well, Chris, you can't be fucking positive all the fucking time. Yes, that's true, but it's just like, you don't have to be negative all the time either. You don't have to choose to be negative. Now I can see how sometimes we can get frustrated and overstimulated and then it just comes out sometimes. But we need the emotional intelligence, we need the, maturity to be able to look back on those things and then maybe, amend those things that we did do in those moments. And I know that we're not perfect all of the time either. But what I'm basically saying with this portion is just end negative cycles. If you see negative shit going on, you see somebody getting robbed, you see some shit going on with that individualism culture, is just like, we're like, everybody's like, mind your fucking business. I need to mind my business. Don't mind your business. Like, help somebody. If you feel in your spirit and you know that there are ways that you can help somebody and, lend a hand, it don't have to be financial. Lend that hand out. People need that sometimes. People need that guardian angel sometimes to come through for them, because with this negativity in this world and the people in this world, that can sometimes, be very overbearing. You know what I mean? Not in control, but overbearing. That's one thing I try to, be privy of. And sometimes I think of it like, maybe that's some of my people pleasing or something like that. But ultimately, I look at it like this. I'm going through some shit. Like, I've been depressed before. I've had all kinds of shit, going on with me. But I will still, clock in at work, give everybody my best, because they don't deserve the shit that I got going on. They don't deserve that shit. I'm going to put my best foot forward and I'm going to give them, the positive energy that I want to receive back to me. I want to treat others how I want to be treated. That's what I just try to do, just in life in general. I just try to be a more positive person, you know what I mean? I try not to fight negativity with negativity all the times. Unless I'm in defense of myself, then, I will put my walls up. I will put my guard up. I will do what I have to do to protect myself and protect my energy at the end of the day. But, like, I'm not gonna go out my way to be negative. And that leads me into my next point. The people that don't trust no one. I don't trust no one. I feel like a lot of times that comes from a place of hurt. These people have probably put their trust, and I know it. These people have put their trust in someone or in something, and they have been let down. Some people, it only takes one time to be let down. Some people, they get let down all the time, and now they're in this energy where they can't go back to being able to trust people, because every time they trusted someone, that person, you know, took their trust and took advantage of it, or just made the situation made themselves untrustworthy to this person. And so that feeds even more into the individualism, you know, concept of, I'm not finna trust nobody. I'm finna just do what I need to do. I'ma use who I need to use to get where I need to get, because I don't truly trust nobody. You know what I mean? It could just be a negative cycle within itself, just not trust nobody. And it's just like, with that, I know how it feels to put your trust in people and like say people, you know, put people to their word. But I say it like this: try to expect the best from situations. Don't go into these situations with a negative mindset, because more than likely you're going to get something negative back. You know what I mean? Like, try to go into these spaces with a positive attitude, a positive mind space. And I know that can be hard, but like, try to be more optimistic in life. You know, don't just roll over and put all your trust in somebody right off the bat, but like, you know, use your discernment. Try to grow your intuition, grow your discernment to be able to know, you know, better ways to trust people. Because I know for me, when it comes to trusting people, now it's like when I use my discernment and use my intuition and stuff, it's just like I can see when things are going a certain way. And yes, sometimes I let my trauma overbear and then it makes me run, my avoidedness. But it's just like, part of making this world a better place, and, you know, knowing that there are better people, good people still in this world, is trusting each other. You know, not always trusting with the most biggest things, but just trusting each other more. Just more. Not the very bare minimum, but let's try to do better with that. You know what I mean? And that just leads me into therapy. A lot of us need therapy. A lot of us have been through a lot of shit, and our society tells us we need, well, especially men, you know, and a lot of women. I'm not finna even hold y'all, like, we're told to like deal with this shit on our own, or we're not told at all how to deal with those emotions. In fact, we're told that a lot of emotions are bad emotions and we're not supposed to feel them at all. And that's not the truth. We all have emotions that we feel, and if you don't express them and let them come out, whichever way you know, express them, they're gonna, you know, we have studies on this, like how it can affect your lifetime. It can affect your, you know, your health, your general health. A lot of us don't have somebody we can trust, somebody we can talk these feelings out, you know, have another person outside of yourself, especially when you haven't been taught to trust yourself. You haven't been taught to, you know, or like everyone around you is telling you one thing, but you know in your heart, you know in your soul, it's another thing. You don't have anyone there to validate you. You don't have anyone to validate your experiences. But I promise you, there's somebody in this world that has the same experience as you. And, you know, a lot of times it's hard to understand it and truly grasp that, and grasp the variety of the world, the variety of other spaces and people out there, when you're in something that's just so, you know, one way, and it's hard for you to see it any other way. You know what I mean? And therapy doesn't always mean going down, talking to a counselor or talking to a therapist. Therapy can be taking some time to yourself. Therapy can be doing some introspection, doing some shadow work, looking at the aspects of yourself, why you do certain things, because I feel like that's ultimately what therapy is. You go deeper within, and you look at the things that either you want to change, or you look at the things that, you know, you just observe things about yourself. You notice patterns within yourself, and if there are patterns that you want to change, you know, look back to look forward to see, you know, how you're gonna in the present, you know, work on things to do better in those aspects, so that you can have better interpersonal, you know, platonic, romantic relationships, familiar relationships. You can be in a better mood more of the time, because your perspectives change, your mindset change when you know like certain things about your past and just different stuff like that, where you can just like use that to push you forward. Therapy can be talking to a friend. Therapy can be swimming, you know, if that's your thing, where you can release emotion and release tension. A lot of people love the gym. I like the gym. I don't be going like that because we're not going to get into that. But have something where you can at least release, even if you are not always talking it out, which I feel like you should, even if you're doing it mostly you should be doing it with yourself, but just a way to release. Because a lot of things in this society has got our shoulders up, got us very tense. We don't know what's going to happen next. We always feel like something negative is about to drop down on us, so we always got to stay ready. We always got to stay on guard, you know what I mean? But try to find that space, that one thing, you know, or a multitude of things or people that can help you release in a positive way. Things that are healthy that can help you release. Because, I mean, we see drug addicts, we see alcoholism all the time, where these people get attached to these substances, and that's what helps them release. That's what helps them release, because truly at the end of the day, those things don't necessarily help you release. It helps you release the tension. It helps you release the presentness of it all, but it's still going to be there once that high comes down, once that drunkenness sobers. It's just like those pressing things that are within that you haven't worked on are still going to be there every fucking day until you work on them, you know what I mean? So, you know, what J. Cole said, he said, meditate, don't medicate. And medicating don't hurt, you know what I mean? It don't hurt sometimes. I'm saying it here. Medicating don't hurt sometimes, but it's just like, know that after you get done medicating, or whenever you have to release whatever, eventually you're going to have to sit in those emotions and truly work through those emotions and figure out what your next step is going to be. You know what I mean? And be patient with yourself. Give yourself grace as much as I'm telling you to give everyone else grace. Give yourself grace, because at the end of the day, a lot of this stuff can change once you give yourself more compassion, once you give yourself more grace. You know what I mean? Because it's hard to, for me, it's not hard all the time, but it's hard for a lot of people when you don't give yourself grace, you don't give yourself compassion, to give that to somebody else. You know what I mean? So that's why a lot of people are like, I feel like, are like, I did it, why can't they do it? I'm doing this, but why can't these people do it? They're not giving themselves compassion. That's why they are like that. They're not giving themselves grace. So they can't understand all the little multitudes of little different things why people end up in the situations they end up. You know, because they're unhappy at the end of the day with their life. They're unhappy with certain aspects, even though they feel like they have this possession and they feel like that should make them a good person or make them happy or whatever. If they're not happy. For those who want to be good, you know, I used to really struggle with the idea that I wasn't good or I wasn't a good person, and that's where that people pleasing came in. Because I used to always wonder, why am I being bullied? Why do these people dislike me when I haven't given them any reason to dislike me? Why, am I a bad person? Like, am I not a good person, and am I not striving to be good? But within that, I realized that I was trying to obtain almost this perfectness. And I know, especially in Christianity and church and a lot of churches and stuff, or the epitome of what Christianity can be, a lot of people are miseducated on some stuff. So it's just like, with that miseducation, you feel like in order to be the best person, the best Christian, you have to obtain this holiness, this pureness, you know. And if you have that pureness, then everything will work out. When in actual reality, there's a balance to everything. That's why a lot of people, that's why we see these people in the church that are doing this or doing that. They're doing this, they're having this scandal, they're having that scandal. It's because nobody is perfect at the end of the day, you know what I mean? And just because you have made mistakes in your past, you listen to me right now, if you still watching this video, your past mistakes do not make your future. They may give you repercussions that affect your future, but they do not ultimately make your future. They do not make what you have to do going forward. They may make your situations different, whatever, but who you are as a person, you can change that. And know that that's the past, you know what I mean? If you've hurt someone, you know, try to remediate that. If you can't remediate it with that person, try to, you know, just put that good energy back into the world. Try to do better where you did bad in the past. Because I see a lot of stuff as karma. I see a lot of stuff as a balance. So if I do something negative, this, that, the other, I need to go fix that, and everything can't be fixed. Sometimes the damage is done. And with that, you have to, accept that and know that you've done all that you can to try to remediate it, but then go into yourself and see why you did that, why this occurred, and give yourself grace at the end of the day to grow from that. You know what I mean? Because we're all on our own journeys. And so, where was I going with this? What I'm trying to say is, just because you made mistakes don't mean that you're a bad person. A lot of people consider good and bad two different things from what I consider them for. Like, some people consider me a horrible, evil, bad person because of my sexuality, when ultimately I don't feel like that's the case. And I, truthfully and honestly, I just feel like that's ultimately not the case. It is not the case. But it's just like, I know that people feel that way. So it's just like, try to be your idea of good. Try to be, better. Even though you've done stuff in the past, that doesn't mean keep doing stuff bad. That doesn't mean keep trying to undermine people. That doesn't mean keep doing those things because, it's just like, oh, well, I made one mistake. I might as well just keep making them. No, try to do better. You don't always have to, you can't always fix what you've done in the past, but you can do better in the present. You can help someone else, in a similar situation that you may have heard in the past. You cheated on somebody in the past, you may be, providing emotional support for a friend that's being cheated on one day. It's just like, God and Spirit has a funny way of working stuff out sometimes, and a funny way of putting stuff in your face once you've grown from things to test you in a way and see, and it even shows you where you are currently and stuff. No one's perfect, like, nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. And I feel like you will drive yourself crazy trying to be the epitome of perfect, because it's hard to be perfect as a human. We're a human, like, we see animals and shit make mistakes all the time. How are we any different? I know we're different, but like, how are we any different? But with that, I'm on to just this is my conclusion basically. Everything has to balance. So even though, I'm saying that there's still hope out there, there's still faith out there, and all this different kinds of stuff, there's still negativity out there. There's still bad people out there, but we're trying to be good. Some bad comes with that naturally as humans, naturally with the duality. There is negativity and positivity, and they balance each other out. So with as much good, sometimes there can be as much bad, and that's what we see sometimes. But when I see a lot of bad coming and no good evening it out, I feel like that's when me and a lot of other people, we start to lose faith, and we start to lose some hope and some stuff, when it's just like, we're the ones here to put that, to balance that out. You're seeing all this negativity, start trying to balance it out with something else. And that's ultimately where my message lays today. It's just like, nobody's perfect. We can't all be good all the time. But what I want you to realize is that there's a balance. When we see these negative things happen in the world, something just as good, if not better, can come in the future. Or, let's stop sitting in certain negative things that we can't change. Because a lot of stuff we can't change, and we just, fearmonger, and we just, spread it out, and it makes people lose hope, because it's just like, well, what's the point? You know what I mean? But there is a point. The point is to live a good life. The point is to live a happy life, because I ultimately feel like that's what we're here for. We're not here to be worried about the negative shit that can happen any other day. Because, like, tomorrow we could all be dead. Tomorrow, whatever. But am I about to worry about that? Hell no. Because I'm trying to live a happy life. That's why I got this get up I got on today. That's why I got this shit on. This outfit makes me happy. I like this. I felt spiritually connected to this. And I felt good wearing this. I feel good wearing this. And I like it. It makes me happy. And I'm not going to let anyone tell me otherwise, because at the end of the day, I'm happy about it. You know what I mean? And if they do try to do that, I'm going to give them grace. I'm going to see, that negativity is coming from somewhere. It's coming from some unhappiness in their life, a negativity in their life that they don't know how to alchemize into positivity. But hey, I'm an alchemizer at the end of the day. You give me all the negative shit. What Beyonce said, I can take it. Give it to me. All that shit. She's the alchemizer. She can turn that negativity into positivity. And, you know, I guess I noticed that everyone just isn't an alchemist in that sense. But I feel like I am, and I try to be. You know, when people give me that negativity, you know, sometimes I just cut it off because I don't have the space for it. I don't have the capacity for it. But, you know, most times I try to look at it from a sociological standpoint, where it's just like, there's probably a reason this is happening, and I can't always say that these people are unhappy. They may just be trying to be fucking mean. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter why they're being mean. It matters what I do. It matters, you know, what positive thing I try to do in return, or try to do, you know, going forward. And that's how we have more good people in this world. That's how we have more fulfilling lives. That's how we have more fulfilling relationships, is trying to be better. You know, not trying to feed into the negativity. Knowing that negativity was within us, working with that negativity and balancing ourselves out. We can't all be fucking positive all the fucking time. But that's it. If you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe, ho. And I'll see y'all next week. I'll try to start back recording on Tuesdays, but I'm kind of liking Fridays. I don't know. But that's all. I'll see y'all later. Bye. Bye bye.